Again, I would like to remind you tomorrow's trip. It looks like I'm a tour guide. Okay. For the meals, and I just would like to mention that you can bring yourself. You can bring yourself to there, but I would like to mention that there is a convenience store, 7-Eleven there. Okay, no worries if you do not like the food there. And there are also other traditional restaurants there, but it's provided on the basis like you have 8 or 10 people and you share probably 4 to 5 dishes and soup. Okay, it depends on you. If you are not accustomed to this kind of food, you can buy it in the 7-Eleven there, or I heard it is the highest convenience store in Taiwan. Okay, and we used to have a Starbucks there. Okay, many years ago, I went there for hiking. There used to be a Starbucks, but now it's closed. So, but you still can have a cup of coffee there. Okay, probably this afternoon our student system will let you know more about tomorrow's trip, right? For today's last 2 presentations. Okay, let's welcome groups 15 and 16 and 3 and 4. Okay, thank you. I'll make comments later in combination.
Hello everyone. These are our group members from group 15 and 16. I'm Hong Chong Yu. Now we're going to have a speech on energy issue that involves the conflict between economic growth and environmental protection. And we'll focus our topic on the nuclear power plants. Yeah, we all know that after the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, greenhouse effect become serious year after year. Global warming changes our climate comprehensively, just like the movie we saw on Tuesday. However, thanks to Albert Einstein, that we know how to get superpower from the nuclear reaction. And check out these 2 pictures. We can tell that both Taiwanese and Japanese constructed lots of nuclear power plants in their region. The nuclear energy accounts about 20% in Taiwan and about 29% in Japan of the total electricity generation of the country respectively. Although it doesn't sound much, it's just second to the amount of electricity that generated by fossil fuels. And so why do we use nuclear energy so abundantly? And what are the advantages? I think the first reason is that nuclear energy is considered to be a clean and environmental friendly resource. On this chart, you can see that the amount of greenhouse gas emissions caused by nuclear energy is far less than those caused by the fossil fuels such as coal and natural gas. And the waste made by nuclear energy is very little as well. To generate 1 gigawatt of electricity, a nuclear power plant may only cost 2 tons of waste. However, a coal-fired power plant may cause about 8 million tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere in average. And another advantage of nuclear energy is that it is efficient. Renewable energy such as wind or solar power dilutes a great deal of source of energy while transforming into the electricity. And when we compare nuclear energy with fossil fuels, we'll get a surprising result. The amount of electricity that generated by 1 kilogram of uranium is just equals to 5,000 kilograms of gasoline, 40,000 kilograms of natural gas, and 22,000 kilograms of coal. And so far, it sounds like that the nuclear energy is the panacea to resolve global warming. However, we still confront lots of dilemmas, not only in Japan, but also in Taiwan. So let's welcome our next group member.
And good morning, everyone. I'm Zheng Zhiqing from Political Science, and I want to introduce the situation in Taiwan about the nuclear energy law. And there is an organization called Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, and you can also call it OECD. In Chinese, it's 经济合作发展组织. And there is some nuclear law that they talk about the goal of the NTA. That it has a agency that we call Nuclear Energy Agency. That in this area, in the nuclear area, is to help create sound national and international legal regimes required for the peaceful uses of nuclear energy. That we should use the nuclear energy peaceful, and including international trade in nuclear materials and equipment, to address issues to liability and compensation for nuclear damage, and to serve as a center for nuclear law information and education. And it is from some organizations. And there is also about the law problem that, do you know there is this IAEA that we call International Atomic Energy Agency, and in Chinese is 国际原子能总署. That in the law about nuclear power in Taiwan, actually basically it only have two, I don't know how to say in law language, actually you have only 2 layers. One is law and the second is order. And it is similar to English basic primary legislation and secondary legislation. But IAEA said that they hope that every country's their laws about the nuclear safety, that it is better to have 5 or more than 5 layers. So maybe the first is the law, and the second, it should have more regulations or courts to in your nuclear law. Okay, so the nuclear energy law as objective is to assist members countries in the development, strengthening the harmonization of nuclear legislation that is based upon internationally accepted principles for the safe and peaceful use of nuclear energy. And also to contribute to the modernization of the international nuclear liability regimes and encourage the strengthening of treaty relations between interested countries to address liability and compensation for nuclear damage. And third is to collect and to analyze the disseminated information on nuclear law generally and on topical nuclear law issues. And this is the brief introduction. And the second part, I want to tell you the nuclear power in Taiwan. Okay, actually we have 4 planes of it, but there we the active nuclear power plants only have 3, and first is Jinshan NPP1, and it is in Taipei City, 在石门区金山就是核一厂。And the second is Guosheng, is in Taipei City, Wanli district. And the third is Ma'anshan nuclear power plant, and it's in Hengchun. Okay, so and the most issue that we discussion about is the fourth, the Longmen power plant, and is the north coast of Taiwan. And with the shutdown of Jinshan the second plant, Northern Taiwan currently has no operating nuclear power reactors, where only reactor 1 at Ma'anshan is in operation, as Ma'anshan 2 is temporarily offline for refueling. And the plant 1, 2, 3 was built between the late 1970s to early 1980s, so it's good now. And the Longmen power plant was being built in 1999. Okay, this is the photo of Longmen. Okay, actually, that the energy, it is. At first, it is the problem about economic problem, but the second, it become a environmental problem, because when we have money, when we become rich, like the second stage of us to protect our environment. So, but the third, that become a political problem, because it was used as a way in the elections. It is obviously in Taiwan, like KMT and DPP. So it become a political problem. But in the end, it will become the problems about judicial or legislative, because if our laws can move with the times, like our government don't know how to deal with the problem if we really face it. So it becomes a judicial problem. Okay, so the next issue I want to talk about is, should we anti-nuclear or not? And actually, our president Tsai Ing-wen confident Taiwan will phase out nuclear power by 2025. And also, in January 2016, last year, the Thai Power published the commission. The commission means that we really shut down the power plant. That the commission plan for Jinshan, whose 40-year license expired in December 2018 and July 2019. And the commission is to be over 25 years, so it really takes time. And it will take in 4 stages. First, they want to shut down and the fueling to end of 2026. And the second, it will dismantle to 2038. And the third, they were testing it to 2041. And the fourth stage, they will start restoration to 2044. And the use of fuel pool, 就是那个储存桶, will be removed over 2027 to 31. So this is what Thai Power do now. And this is the picture of should we anti-nuclear power. Let me tell you why somebody support it. Because in Taiwan, the fourth plant, the Longmen plant, is near the capital, near the Taipei City, and is in the north coast. So it can deal with the problem to use the electricity in Taipei City. And if you start the plant, the fourth plant, like we can decommission the first or second or third nuclear plant someday or sooner. And the third reason that they want to support the nuclear power is that maybe we can use other ways to produce to make power to produce electricity, but they did have some disadvantage. Like if we use solar power, I think everyone is saying solar power is very eco-friendly. But do you know the production, the procedure to produce the solar panel it will cause a lot of pollutions and it costs a lot. And the second, you may consider the wind turbines. But the wind turbines 就是那个风力发电机 the wind turbines may cause a lot of noise, and you will spoil the view. And the most serious is that you will reduce the local birds because the birds will bump into the machines, so it will reduce the birds. So, and on the other hand, who encourage is they consider the safety of nuclear, and the most serious is that the fuel cycle and waste because a low level it will cause a low level radioactive waste storage. And the facility is operated on Lanyu Island, just mentioned by the last groups. Okay, so you can think about it if we do really need it, if we do really need it, or maybe we just do it because we have no choice. Okay, so the next is Serena. He will tell you the nuclear power in Japan.
Hello everyone. Hello. I'm Serena Uemura. I'm from Doshisha University and majoring in law. From now, I'm going to talk about the Japanese nuclear power. Do you know the earthquake in Fukushima? 311 earthquake? And did you see it on the TV? Yeah, so you know how it's dangerous. The earthquake had really big impact on Japan. And I know, when I see it on TV, I thought it's like movie. You know, it's really big incident, so I couldn't believe it happened. And sorry. So now, in Japan, there are about 57 nuclear power plants. Then 5 power plant is still working. Then look at this graph. In the above graph, it says the nuclear power is only 1%. 1% is too small number, right? So I think it's easy to stop to use nuclear power, but they didn't. Why they didn't to stop use nuclear power? So there is 3 main reasons. So I'm gonna explain it. The first reason is economic reason. The second reason is to secure energy. And the third reason is it's good for environment. I'm gonna explain the first reason. Yes, the nuclear cost is cheap because the cost of thermal power generation is double nuclear. Then the cost of solar power generation is nearly 6 times as much as nuclear. Then the nuclear has good cost performance. Usually the loan of nuclear is paid off by 7 years nearly. Then after that, the profit will be not net profit. Do you know net profit? like when you finish to pay off your loan, after if you earn money, it will be the 100% of benefit. So it means that after 7 years, the money who came from nuclear it will be 100 profit. So it's really easy to earn money for Japan. And the second reason is to secure energy. Japan doesn't have enough resources, so they import most of their energy from foreign countries, and such as oil, then the natural gas. And if the foreign countries stop to export the energy, what will happen in Japan? I think all of their energies will run out, then suddenly we have to suffer from the lack of energy. So it's a serious problem. Then, so I think everyone will think that how about solar power? Solar power can make some energy in Japan as well, but it's really unstable because we have 4 seasons. So the weather can change quickly, and sometimes it's cloudy, then rain, sometimes snow, not sunny all day. So it's so unstable. It's not appropriate for us. So the nuclear, we can get some energy from nuclear power daily. So it's a good way for us. I'm gonna explain the third reason. Third reason is nuclear power is good for environment. Nuclear power is good for environment. It sounds strange. It's a bit doubtful, right? But without the danger of radiation, it's safe. If it's safety, it's good for environment. Because for example, thermal power is fire power. Discharge a lot of carbon dioxide, then it's not good for environment. But the nuclear doesn't make carbon dioxide and harmful substance, so it's helpful. Then yeah. So we think there is a big issue for us because we have to keep it in safety. So we need to try to secure people from nuclear and radiation. But in future, we can use nuclear better and better. So Japan still use nuclear power. So I know I talked a really basic thing, but the basic thing has a big impact more than we expect. So these are the main 3 reasons of why Japan doesn't give up to use nuclear power. That's all.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Zhang Xiaojun, and I'm from philosophy. And I got to talk about a brief conclusion, or maybe you could think. After we talked about so many different opinions, about even the opinions we got from last group, we may have some own views, or you may have had your own views before listening the presentation. And I gonna talk about these 3 perspectives about the nuclear power, because it's based on the statistical data the perspective is the main reason or usually factors you will face when you consider about the issues about nuclear power. And so now we started from the first one, safety, and many people who does not support nuclear power may because two main reasons, because safety and the waste made from the nuclear power plants. But for when we talk about safety, I was kind of and so while we benefit from the nuclear power plants now, and we are still doubtful of the nuclear power plants, if it's really safety or not, is because the country like Taiwan or Japan has the earthquake or has an earthquake many orphans, and even Japan have, when they encounter a big or serious earthquake, they are damaged because tsunami, and yes, and so that's why the nuclear power plants about the safety problem is more serious than other countries in Taiwan or Japan is. So many people will be doubtful if we really need nuclear power plant to be sustained to produce electricity. And besides the environmental condition of Taiwan and Japan is, most of people don't like to have nuclear power plant around or near their home, because even though compared to other way to produce electricity, like for example fossil-fired plant, nuclear power may be the most clean. Some will say like that, but if we choose this way to produce electricity, then we have to face some kind of environmental problem about to hurt environment. Like the most direct problem is radiation problem. If we try to build a nuclear power, then it means it will damage the environment at that place for a long period of time, and it will hurt the place's ecosystem and the environment permanently in the end. And when you then it's about the waste. Just after safety, then safety is a little how does it sound? It's coupled to waste. About waste, besides the radiation pollution, it also, after you produce the electricity, then there will be radiation waste, and that will influence the environment and the human beings. And when we try to resolve the radiation waste, we only have two ways to try to fix it. One is just keep it for a long period of time to wait the radiation less influence, and the other way is to bury all of the waste. And in Taiwan, we will we just said, we will collect the waste and just bury it in Lanyu. But let's radiation waste will influence the environment condition and it will hurt our body. So for people live in Lanyu, they try to say no to government, but maybe you will know when you heard this news or you heard their conditions, you will feel, oh, maybe it's not that justice or it's not fair to them because we all use the power, but only they have to spend for the waste. But now we don't have a better way to fix the waste, and so even in this condition, even the law will, in some degree, to allow the government to make this kind of decision that will hurt the inhabitant on Lanyu. So this is one. Maybe you could say it's one dilemma that our price we should pay for using this kind of way to produce electricity. Okay, then the last one we will be doubtful is about the need of electricity. If we really need more power like the data state and we need the nuclear power plants, in Taiwan, the most we depend on the most way we depend on to produce electricity is still fossil-fired plants to gain the power. But then we are now, like Beijing, there is the more serious condition that we can see about the pollution. And in Taichung now is like they have the same condition to Beijing now. And for people who live in Taichung, they will have to test the PM, just like the particulate matters, PM. That is a harmful thing to our bodies. So before they leave their house, they should wear the mask or they will breathe with harmful air. So it's now, for Taiwan, is now we face the same problem with as the same as Beijing. And so some people will be doubtful that our government says we will be lack of electricity in maybe several years or decades years later, and they are nervous because build a nuclear power plant should take maybe about 10 to 15 years. So that will make the problem that should we take a risk to building a plant like that, and or maybe will we really lack of nuclear power plant in the future? That would be a question, but it takes time to build a plant, so then we will get another dilemma again. Okay. So maybe there is no final answer to if Taiwan or Japan really fit with nuclear power, but because every way we try to produce electricity there will be advantages and disadvantages. So I think Serena said it's right. if we choose one way to produce electricity, we may have problem we have to solve and we have to face, but maybe in the future we will have a better technical improvement to control this kind of way to produce electricity. Okay, so that's our report, and thank you for your listening. Okay, any questions? Thank you.
I just put my PPT here, but it disappeared.
One hour broken by no here. No. Yeah. I don't know, only hour. Yeah.
小白，小白，小白。
Hey. Hey. Keep smile when you don't speak. If I talk, you not focus face. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. 拙い英語でごめんなさい。Okay. Pretty okay. Okay. Yeah,
I looked you. You look very tired, sleepy, and boring. So I tell you one Japanese culture. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Good. If I say or our group say hello everyone, you must say hello everyone more big voice. Okay. Okay, yeah. Yes. Now we will practice. Okay, 3 times practice. Yeah. First, hello everyone.
Hello everyone.
Yeah. Hello everyone.
Hello everyone.
Hello everyone.
Hello everyone.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I love you. Oh yeah. Before I do presentation, I want to set two rules. Okay. First, please have interesting our presentation. If you don't interesting for our presentation have no meaning. Okay, yeah. So please listen our presentation. Okay, like that. Yeah, okay. Please have interesting. Yeah. Second rule and the most important rule is please listen our presentation with your big smile. Yeah. Okay. If you listen to our presentation only your poker face, we cannot feel good after presentation each other. So please with big smile. Okay. Yeah, good. Okay, I start our presentation. Our presentation is about climate change. Climate change is a change of temperature or rainforest or etc. One of the most famous climate change is global warming. Now we'll give you 3 examples. Think about climate change together now. From now. Today's timeline is
First, Kyoto Protocol, and second, Copenhagen Accord, and final Paris Agreement. Now start our presentation. Next presenter is Tepe. He speak about Kyoto Protocol, but he get very nervous in front of many people. So please, warming smile, please.
Thank you, Genki, for your presentation. Yeah. My name is Tepe. So I exchange from Japan, English to Chinese. 我是晴天嘉宾，我不是变态，但是我没有女朋友。Okay, thank you. Okay, so to tell everyone the truth, so I can speak English very well, but I speak English very well. Yeah, okay, so I tried it. Let's go. Talking about climate change. Especially I talking about Kyoto Protocol. Yeah, Kyoto Protocol is reduction plan of greenhouse gases and so on. And Kyoto Protocol is 1997 at Kyoto, and one of the framework convention on climate change, and Kyoto Protocol is adopted flexibility mechanism. Okay? Okay. Slow? Okay. Oh, so very nervous. Yeah. Okay, let's go on to the next page. So, secondly, I talking about framework convention on climate change. So, framework convention on climate change is convention of reducing greenhouse gases and so on. For example, CO2. Yes. Thirdly, flexibility mechanism is to prevent dusty greenhouse gases and so on. Yeah, and flexibility mechanism is adopted is tolerating light. Just me, please. Yeah. Okay. Emissions tolerating and so on. So emission tolerating is tolerating lights of exhausting greenhouse gases and so on. Yeah, the Kyoto Protocol is tackle some problem. Next, talking about Copenhagen Accord. So please, presentation Tracy.
Okay, thank you, Tepe. And I'm going to talk about Copenhagen Accord. Once I heard a British leader say no more talk about Copenhagen, but now I need to talk about because of the report. Yeah, and this is Copenhagen's information. The Copenhagen Accord was signed in December 2009, and because the Kyoto Protocol, as Tepe said, ended in 2012, the Copenhagen Accord was signed to endorse the continuation of it. The Copenhagen Accord is a voluntary agreement between the United States, China, Japan, Canada, Mexico, Russia, etc. And okay, then let's move on to the goal of Copenhagen Accord. More than 180 countries gave their support and signed the contract. One of the goals is to reduce the global temperature by 2% recommended by scientists. Furthermore, a new addition to the Copenhagen Accord that was not covered in Kyoto Protocol is that developed countries need to fund developing countries so that they may do their part in reducing greenhouse gas level. Okay. And the recommended amount of funding is $30 billion between 2010 and 2012. This money will equally divided amongst all the developing countries that are part of the agreement. However, most people see the Copenhagen Accord as a failure because first, it is not legally binding. The accord cannot ensure every country to follow what it has promised in the conference. Second, it did not set a real target to achieve its emissions reduction. Third, the accord is drafted by only 5 countries. They are America, China, India, South Africa, and Brazil. And finally, as I have mentioned, the developed country need to follow the developing country, but there's no guarantee on where the climate funds will come from. Therefore, to solve these problems, the Paris Agreement was signed. Next, let's welcome to Shabai to explain more.
안녕하세요. Hi. My name is Shiro-san. I'm Bai Yi Hong. I want to introduce the Paris Agreement. But at first, why we need the Paris Agreement? Okay, because the Kyoto Protocol ended in 2012. Copenhagen Accord is not useful now, so we need the Paris Agreement. And the Paris Agreement is a climate adopted by the 195 member states of the United Nations on December 12, 2015, replacing the Kyoto Protocol and hoping to slow down the global warming. Let me tell you the content, but the content is too complex and too longer for us. So I want to just say briefly introduce the points. And first, the point: the global average temperatures increase should be less than 2 middle, okay, 2
Celsius degree.
Yeah, and the agreement improves the ability to adapt to climate change without
Threatening
food production. Yeah, and final, the agreement advocates people to spend money in an eco-friendly way. Yeah, but someday a person who is the U.S. president and who want to build a highway on the South American, his name is Trump. Trump announced the withdrawal of the Paris Climate Agreement. His decisions make many impacts for us. The first important impact is we will make global warming more serious, and his decision will expand the
contradiction
of national interests, and it may lead to trade protection in the conflict. It's too hard. In the other words, I just say simple. The economic of America will be better, but other countries' economic will be limited. In simple words, and the final, his decision will raise China's positions in international climate.
You should say your own.
Politics
Politics.
Politics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Hello again. Hello everyone.
Hello.
Oh, good. Thank you. I love you. And in conclusion, the important thing for us to change, for resolving global warming is to change our every person's mind. For example, first, if we go to near place from home, from house, you should walk or by train or bus or bicycle, not car. Yeah, second, if you leave your room, you should turn off your air condition. Political behavior is to protect us, but if we don't change our behavior, global warming will not resolve. No? Thank you very much.
Sorry about that. Oh, wait.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot for your presentation, and it's really impressive, and it's almost the time because now it's already 12. And here, maybe I can have some comments, but just after 2 o'clock before our movie time, okay? Because it's already lunchtime, and we are lucky that now we don't have any rain. And thanks a lot for your hard work, and don't forget for those who are responsible for your written report, you should use the topics that you have been decided by your group members, okay? Strictly implemented, and I'll see you later on 10 past 2, and I think if our lawyer will join us, then probably Annie will come later as well. Okay, have a good time for your lunch. See you later.
Merci.